Don't spend a lot of time with women. You can spend more time with men. I would spend most of your time alone in solitude developing yourself. The time you spend with other men should be used productively to enhance yourself and to challenge each other and push each other to be better. It might feel counterintuitive, but if you don't let her stay at your place and you guys don't sleep in the same bed and wake up next to each other, this is actually better for the attraction and the desire that she will have for you. You don't want to get too comfortable. Leave a comment if you want me to make a future video using your comment. Subscribe to my channel. What's up, bro? So in the last video, I asked you guys to leave thought-provoking comments and I would make a video from the comments. The first one, I'll start with the shortest one. This guy commented, Lawrence commented, yes, period. And I replied, by far the best comment, gonna use this to make the next video. Here we are, I'm doing it. The title of the video, I actually changed the title, but it was something to the effect of no wife, no kids, no job. Am I a failure? So I think he's saying, yes, I am a failure. Probably didn't watch the whole video. A lot of people don't watch the whole video. You guys should watch the whole video because I get into it. I mean, the first few minutes of the videos I make are just surface level. It's usually about female nature or dating or something. And then I get into the real stuff. I get into the self-overcoming journey, the philosophy. If there's any returning viewers and you guys never watched all the way through, I usually end up in How to Become a God Among Men, the Übermensch. This is like a theme along most of my videos. So Lawrence, he didn't watch the video, but he commented yes. And the reason this is my favorite comment, I wasn't being sarcastic because it actually is thought-provoking to me. Lawrence, not very intelligent person, obviously. For me, the simple word yes, period. This reminds me of Nietzsche's philosophy, as usual. And Nietzsche can be said to have a yes-saying philosophy, a life-affirming philosophy. In his early life, Nietzsche was a Schopenhauerian. Schopenhauer said his famous book, World as Will and Representation. So the underlying nature of reality is the will, which is like an unconscious force of striving, and it's just like everything eating everything else. It's the strong dominating the weak and consuming the weak. So it's just a bunch of organisms eating each other and trying to survive and thrive. It's like an indifferent, unconscious striving and yearning to grow and consume things so it can grow. So it's a world of suffering. Things are being eaten alive. I always use the example of a lion eating a gazelle. So for the gazelle who's being eaten alive, it's suffering incredibly. And for the lion is just having a nice meal. It's not a big deal. It's just having lunch. And this is the indifference of nature. Like, nature doesn't care about the gazelle's extreme suffering and death. If you take the Christian values and morals, you would say, oh, the lion is evil for eating the gazelle because the lion is inflicting tremendous suffering on the gazelle for his own like small benefit. But nature is amoral. There is no universal morality. It's just the strong eating the weak. That's all it is. There is no good and evil. There's just strong and weak. Schopenhauer was very influenced by Buddhism and the idea of samsara, this meat grinder wheel of constant suffering. And desire is what creates this suffering. So Schopenhauer's solution was to deny desire. It was to deny life, essentially. Don't have sex. Don't own anything. It's basically be an ascetic monk and just meditate all day. Only eat barely enough to keep yourself alive so you can meditate and eventually you'll die. That'll be better than being alive. Schopenhauer said it's better to not exist at all than to exist in this world of suffering. So it's a life-denying philosophy. Nietzsche agreed with a lot of things Schopenhauer said, but he ended up with a completely opposite conclusion, which was to affirm life and to say yes, like the comment, says yes. Nietzsche's philosophy says yes to life. The Christian morality and values is also life denying. It says no. It says no to desire. Don't have sex. Don't try to increase your power in the world. Just follow the rules laid out in the Bible so you can go to heaven and spend eternity in heaven with God. Heaven is the actual real world. That's what we care about. The Christians, they care about heaven. They don't care about this world. So they're essentially devaluing this life in favor of this imagined afterlife. And Nietzsche was very against anything that was life denying. His philosophy was saying yes to life. It was affirming life, all of life, including the suffering and the pain. He actually thought this was necessary, as did Schopenhauer. You have to suffer in this life of chaos and indifference. Schopenhauer thought that all organisms just want to live and survive. Like reproduction and survival, this is what Schopenhauer's will is striving for. But Nietzsche thought it was not actually that. He thought it was the will to power. Because there's many instances in nature, a female lion who will die to protect her young. Many men in history who fought in battles and wars and who died for glory. They died fighting for their country, for their family. So they gave their life for something higher. And Nietzsche said that they gave their life for power, because everything is will to power. You really need to go deep into philosophy to understand what will is and what power is. It's not power in the crude sense, like Putin or Trump has political power. They command armies. They have power. This is not the kind of power. I mean, it includes that, of course. It also includes personal power, being able to command and obey yourself. We talk about this a lot on the channel. Schopenhauer's book, World as Will and Representation, he thought the world, reality, is the will with a capital W. And then everything we experience with our senses, the phenomenal world, our sense experience, this is all representation. It's not the true reality, which is will. It's just a representation. And Nietzsche also made this distinction. He called it the Dionysian, which is the will, and the Apollonian, which is representation, which is like the boundaries and structure and logic and order that human minds create in the world in order to cope with reality, to cope with existence. Heidegger talked about this, that life for humans is just one long cope. It's all just coping with reality, with existence. Our language, we name things. This is a microphone. That's a camera. This is a hat. This color is purple. All these categories and like order and structure, this is all created by the human mind to make sense of the chaos and disorder, which is reality, which is the will, the Dionysian. Kant called it the phenomenal world and the noumenal world. The noumenal world is the thing in itself. This is the actual true reality, separate from human consciousness. And the phenomenal world is what we experience. And even modern science has shown this to be true, that 100% of what we experience as humans, our reality that our brain constructs for us using our senses, 100% of it is an illusion. And that is necessary because we evolved over millions of years to create this illusion so that we can survive and reproduce. We stopped experiencing the true world, the truth, the noumenal world a long time ago, because any organism that experiences the true world will not be able to survive. So everything we experience is 100% illusion by necessity. The true world, the truth, can be thought of as like the binary code, the ones and zeros, if we're talking about using a computer. The phenomenal world, the Apollonian, the structure, the order, the user interface is like the icons on the screen of your smartphone or on the operating system of your desktop computer. When you move a file into the trash can, these are just images on a screen. What's actually happening is like tiny little electron voltages are being toggled and ones and zeros. This is the truth. But if we saw the truth of the ones and zeros and the voltages and electrons, we wouldn't be able to use the computer. And this is the perfect analogy to life. What you experience, all your senses creating this reality that you're experiencing right now, that is like the user interface. That is the icons. That is not the truth, the true reality. So I was going down like this rabbit hole of deep, contemplative, thought-provoking loops, all from this guy Lawrence's comment of yes, period. So even if you don't leave technically thought-provoking comments, I can find a way. I'm a thinker. This is who I am. And I recently watched this video about how weed affects people. Some people, they get anxious. Some people, they get like giggly and they laugh a lot. And some people, they go down like these really deep, profound thought loops and they just think a lot. So weed brings out like your natural self more to the extreme. I realize I'm a thinker because when I smoke weed, I just think way more intensely and creatively, and I just go down these crazy lines of thinking and trains of thought that lead me to all these different places where I'm making connections between different philosophies I've read. It usually ends up in this place where I'm making connections between Schopenhauer's will and representation, Nietzsche's Dionysian and Apollonian, and Kant's phenomenal and noumenal, and then also the modern neuroscience and the modern math and physics of Donald Hoffman, his user interface theory. This all comes together for me. Okay, so that's the first comment. There's a few others. I don't want this video to be too long. Let me look at another one. Another comment said, and I'll probably put it over my face while I'm reading it, there is no recipe for life. This is freedom. You can't force those things to happen. And those things he's talking about a wife, kids, and a job. I'm 35, me too. And recently was thinking if I really ever want to trade my peace and freedom. It's so good. Agreed. 100% agreed. I do feel like it's good to pass on the ball of life at some point. However, if no decent potential mother shows up, I don't think I want to deal with the stress. Understandable. On the other hand, the older you get, you realize that it's hard to live life in your advanced age by yourself and have no one to rely on. I replied and I said, not only can you not force those things, but in the video I talk about why it's actually necessary to not have them if you want to ascend above humanity. So like I said, most of my videos, they start off with dating, female nature type stuff, and then it goes into self-improvement. And then the point of the self-improvement in solitude is to eventually supercharge your self-improvement with AI and become the Übermensch, which is ascending above humanity, becoming a god among men. And I also said, for the common man who fails to commit to personal development and becoming more powerful as he ages, then yes, it's probably difficult to not have relationships. But a powerful man can have relationships when he chooses and not have them when he needs to focus on something important. So the commenter, he was saying like, oh, I do want to pass the ball on, have kids, if there's a good, like a suitable partner to do it with. But he doesn't want to trade his peace and freedom, which he values greatly, which is very understandable. I'm sure other guys can relate. I can certainly relate. I was married for 12 years. I lacked peace and freedom, but I had love and money. And now I've been single for 4 years, and now I have ultimate peace and freedom, but I lack love and money. And I can tell you right now, I much prefer the peace and freedom over the love and money. I think a lot of men who are masculine at their core, we really want the freedom aspect more than the love and relationships aspect, even more than the money aspect. I mean, money is great, but the point of money is it buys you more freedom and more choices. If you're making a lot of money, but it's limiting your freedom because you have too much responsibility and you have too many obligations, what's the point of having that money if it's limiting your freedom? This is why the CEO of Telegram, Pavel Durov, he's worth like $15 billion. He doesn't own a home. He doesn't use a smartphone. He uses his laptop when he needs to get work done, because all those things, owning a home, having a wife and kids, using a phone, this stuff limits your freedom. Using your smartphone and scrolling and stuff like that, this is lowering your freedom. It's not increasing your freedom. You should be very careful where you put your attention. So instead of putting your attention on mindlessly scrolling short form content like many of you are doing, instead you should put your attention on a book. A book of philosophy is my go-to. Anything by Nietzsche, I like Schopenhauer, anything related to philosophy. Right now I'm reading this book. It's called The Secret History. It's a novel, but it has very philosophical undertones. I also have La Rochefoucauld's Moral Maxims. It's pretty good, but I think I got a shitty translation. I'm gonna get a different one. Guys, if you're buying books, always get the most expensive and ask ChatGPT what is the best translation. It makes a big difference. I've had to repurchase so many books because I kept buying cheaper versions that were public domain translation instead of like a scholar. Hoffman is the best translator for Nietzsche. Not only do you have to speak the original language, which is German, and then speak English, obviously, to translate it into English, but you have to understand the man's philosophy in order to translate it well, which is rare. It's rare for people to understand Nietzsche's philosophy. Going back to the guy's comment, he talks about not wanting to give up his freedom, and yeah, if he finds a suitable woman, he'll have children because he doesn't want to be alone as he gets older. These are all valid concerns. The way I see it, if you spend your life improving yourself and getting stronger and smarter and better across the board, you're never gonna have a lack of options of high quality women to make children with. And as you age, back to Schopenhauer, he's the one who said the older you get, the less you enjoy other people's company. I think he used the words, the men with higher intellectual power, the older they get, the more they prefer reading, writing, and thinking in solitude, and the less they can tolerate other people. But the lower your intellectual power, the less you enjoy solitude, and the more you need to occupy your time with other people, because other people stimulate you in a way that you just can't do on your own because your mind isn't stimulating enough. You need other people. I'm already pretty far on my enjoyment of solitude journey because I spent most of my life having a rich social life, a lot of relationships, constantly around people, constantly around my ex-wife. We were always together. So now the last few years being on my own has been such a pleasure. It's been such a treat to have so much time to develop and cultivate my rich inner world further and further. And I think as we age as men, we just like that more. We like to just be in nature by ourselves, meditate, read, write, exercise, do things on our own for ourselves. And yeah, it's nice to interact with other people, but for me, it's like the older I get, the less time I like to spend with other people, like consecutively. I can spend an hour, maybe two with someone, and then I'm like, bro, it like messes with my daily routine. It messes with my habits if I spend too much time hanging out with people. I like it, my social interactions to be brief, and I prefer quality over quantity of time. quality of interaction is way better than spending a long time with someone and basically diluting the quality of the interaction. All right, this video is really fucking long. Let me just do one more. Regina, I gotta get to your comment because you've been a long time fan of the channel. So your comment is extremely long. I'm not gonna read the whole thing, but basically women evolved with themselves, basically. Yeah, okay, so this goes to a core truth of my philosophy on female nature and intersexual dynamics, how men and women relate to each other. Don't spend a lot of time with women. You can spend more time with men. I would spend most of your time alone in solitude developing yourself. And then you can spend some time with other men, be part of a brotherhood, and do things together, like do sports. When you're hanging out with your guy friends, it's really all about engaging in some activity together. I like to go skateboarding with my friends. I like to play sports with my friends. I do not like to drink alcohol and destroy my sleep and my health with my friends. I used to do that a lot. Like I said, I'm 35. When I was like, even as recently as when I was 34, I was spending some time here and there, like drinking with the boys. This is not good. The time you spend with other men should be used productively to enhance yourself and to challenge each other and push each other to be better. The time you spend with women should be extremely limited. The more time you spend with the woman or women you're dating, I always tell you never date just one woman. And also never be in a relationship with a woman, like an exclusive monogamous relationship. This is the worst thing you can do for desire. Like this will destroy the woman's desire, sexual desire for you. You should optimize for sexual desire and not optimize for being in this like friendship with women that you're going to have this long relationship. I did that. I had a 12-year relationship with a woman. And we were best friends because we spent so much time together. And it really messed up the sexual polarity. So don't spend a lot of time with women. It's much better to just spend like an hour or two a week with a woman. And if you want more time with women, you need to have multiple, and then you can spend an hour or two with one girl and then an hour or two with another one. And that way you can see a woman pretty much every day, as long as it's not the same woman. But you should ask yourself, why do I need to spend time with women every single day? And if you're the kind of guy like I used to be for most of my life, who spent very long amounts of time with women, like I said, I was married and me and my wife, we worked from home together. So we were constantly together. And then when we got divorced and I started dating other women, it felt natural for me to just spend long amounts of time with women, with the women I would date. So a girl would come over on Friday in the evening. We would drink wine, go out and have dinner somewhere, have drinks, and then come home, and she'll stay the night. And then in the morning, we'll have breakfast and we'll still keep hanging out. That was natural to me, but that is not good. Don't do that. Don't spend such long stretches of time with women. It might feel counterintuitive, but if you don't sleep with the woman, if you don't let her stay at your place and you guys don't sleep in the same bed and wake up next to each other, this is actually better for the attraction and the desire that she will have for you. You don't want to get too comfortable. You want to have your own life. You want to have some distance emotionally. Have some distance. All right, you guys, this video is very long. I need to cut it off. So leave a like if you like when I ask for comments and then make a video about the comments. Leave a comment if you want me to make a future video using your comment. Subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.